China is increasingly relying on student interns to make gadgets like iPhones in Western China, where lower wages make it harder to attract migrant workers. Welcome to Asia Today. I'm Yoon-hee Kim. Joining me to discuss this is Scott Rosell, director at Stanford University. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. You've been doing some research and collaboration and funding from multiple companies like Apple on vocational schools in Hunan province in China. Tell us what your research has found.
Look at the quality of these rural vocational education schools, high school level. It's expanded very rapidly lately, and the government's invested tremendous amounts of money hoping to attract large numbers of high school age kids in here. And they really have not been hitting their targets, that the number of kids that are interested in pursuing this vocational ed track, number of kids who go into this vocational ed track then drop out, has risen sort of year on year for the past 3, 4, 5 years. And of course, one of the hypotheses is perhaps it's grown too fast, or perhaps they haven't been taking the right track. And so we're trying to really measure the quality of the education in these schools.
Tell us a little bit more about some of these student interns. How old are they, and who employs them? And is this illegal in China? And what does the government have to say about the program?
So first of all, this is fully legal when it's done right, and it's part of the policy of the government to by 2020, at least the original plan was to have half of the high school age kids in these vocational ed schools. And the idea is they go get vocational training. They're supposed to, by policy, also get basic education, so math, Chinese, English, science training, a mix of those two. And then during the summers of their years of vocational school, and during vacations in the second year, and then all during the third year, they're supposed to go do internships so help them find the types of jobs they're interested in and give them experience on the job. That's the theory.
And there was one very interesting point in your research that stood out at me, that basically some of these students didn't really perform well in math after their programs ended compared to when they actually entered. So tell us a little bit more about that.
We went to we've been now to nearly 200 schools in 3 provinces, in the coastal areas, in the central areas, and in the western areas. And to first and second year students in these vocational schools, we would, the first or second week that they entered, we would give them a baseline sort of math test. This is a standardized test that's drawn from the curriculum that they're supposed to know that they'll be learning, and we get scores. And then we come back at the end of the school year, so this is 6, 7 months later, and we give them another test. This test was specially created for us by educational specialists, so we could actually measure absolute learning. The tests were linked, and what we found was actually quite shocking. In vast majority of the students either didn't learn any math during the entire school year, or they knew less math at the end of the year than when they sort of got there. And it's quite disconcerting. China is a middle-income country going towards high income, they hope. They're trying to educate kids who, 20 years from now are going to be at the heart of a high-income, high-wage, service sector-oriented economy. And these kids aren't only not learning anything in their high school years, they're unlearning.
Well, that's pretty alarming. Thanks very much for your insights on this topic. Scott Rosell joining us from Stanford University.